What a moment it is for the 23-year-old Russian who plays for Kazakhstan. Talking about Elena Rybakina, who is into a second Grand Slam final. Talking about the Australian Open. Remember, she won Wimbledon last year, although she couldn't take the 2,000 points that comes with Grand Slams as a result of Wimbledon being penalized for punishing Russian and Belarusian players in terms of banning them from competing as a result of Russia's war in Ukraine. This is the Arena, and I'm Samson Lady. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. The next 25 plus minutes will definitely be the very best. Let's begin with what we saw just about now, talking about the very best of Australian Open. The women's semi-final is ongoing, and we now have a finalist. The other semi-final is on as we speak. But earlier, you had Elena Rybakina take on two-time Australian Open champion Victoria Azarenka, and that was quite a keenly contested match, it must be said, especially the first set, which went to the way of Rybakina in a tiebreaker, it must be said, 7-6, 7-4, that ended before she sealed a place in the final with a 6-3 victory in the final set. That's the second set. So 7-6, 7-4, 6-3, that ended in favor of Elena Rybakina. She had 9 aces in that match with 3 double faults. Began the match with double fault, it must be said, but she was also able to register 30 winners and while committing 21 unforced errors. Meanwhile, for Victoria Azarenka, the double faults were the bane actually of a loss. She had 6 of them, had just 3 aces in there, 26 winners, not a bad one, but she also had 27 unforced errors, and she was only able to convert 3 break points, while for Elena Rybakina, she converted 5 of the break points on offer. 11 of them were on offer. She was able to convert 5 of them. So it's Rybakina who moves into a second slam final. Let's see if she can make it another slam title. It must be said she's had a Cinderella run, a great run as it were, defeating world number 1 and title favourites Iga Swiatek in round 4, as well as defeating former French Open champion Yelena Ostapenko in the quarterfinals of the tournament. So it's definitely looking good for Rybakina in terms of going into the final feeling quite confident. Well, let's run you through, still talking about the Australian Open. The women's second semi-final is on as we speak, and it looks like 4th seed Aryna Sabalenka, the only seeded player when it comes to the top 10 seeds, will book a place in the final. She won the first set against the unseeded Magdalenet. That one in a tiebreaker, 7-6, 7-1. That was what the tiebreak finished, talking about the first set. The second set, she's 2 breaks up and looks like she will take a 5-1 lead as we speak. She's currently 4 games to 1 up in that second set with 2 decisive breaks. It's safe to say that the final will be between Aryna Sabalenka as well as Rybakina. It will be an interesting final. Let's see who gets it really. Well, that was quite expository, it must be said, talking about how the surfaces are being taken care of right there by personnel of the court services. Quite intriguing, it must be said. Well, let's turn our attention now to basketball, and it's all about the Los Angeles Lakers at this point in time. Yes, Anthony Davis made a return to the side after missing 20 games due to a right foot sprain, and the big man showed once again why he is a very instrumental part of the Los Angeles Lakers side. Scored 21 points on his return to guide the Lakers past the Spurs in terms of getting another victory for the Los Angeles Lakers. You also had LeBron James score 20 points in there for them. Also amassed 11 assists and 9 rebounds as the Lakers ran out winners. Meanwhile, for Davis, 21 points, 12 rebounds, all in 26 minutes. Now, it's quite impressive because it is his 19th double-double of the season in just 26 games. Shows you that when healthy, he is definitely a top player, not just for the Lakers, but also in the league. Arguably, one of the top 10, guys right there. Well, you had Ryu Hachimura, who made, his debut, scored 12 points for the Lakers as well. Patrick Beverley scored a season-high 18 points for them, while Russell Westbrook had 14 points for the Lakers. The Lakers are now 23 wins and 26 losses into the season. Meanwhile, for the Spurs, well, it's definitely a bad, away record for them. They have just 5 wins in 22 away games this season. They are now 14 wins and 34 losses into the season. 113 to 104 points. It ended in favor of the Lakers. Keldon Johnson top scored for the Spurs with 25 points. You had Zach Collins also scoring 16 points for the Spurs. And the Spurs will be taking on the Los Angeles Clippers next on Thursday. While for the Los Angeles Lakers, it is a big one against the best team in the NBA this season, talking about the Boston Celtics. And that's a matchup you want to see on Saturday. Let's turn our attention now to the defending champions of the NBA, talking about the Golden State Warriors. What a match it was at the wee hours of today against the Memphis Grizzlies. Steph Curry got ejected, but Jordan Poole called game on the Grizzlies right at the death of the game. 122 to 120 points. It was his layup that was decisive and prevented the game from going into overtime, calling game right there on Morant as well as the Grizzlies. Steph Curry scored 34 points prior to his ejection in the fourth quarter with just over a minute left to play. You had Klay Thompson with 24 points, Kuminga with 13 points, Jordan Poole, as I said earlier, with 21 points and 7 assists in there, all for the Warriors, who prior to this win had lost 4 successive home games. So this was definitely a much needed win for the Warriors right there at the Chase Center. There are 24 wins and 24 losses into the season. Meanwhile, for the Grizzlies, it is their 4th straight loss, and it looks like they've turned the corner for the worst, you want to say. Ja Morant top scored with 29 points, had 12 assists, and that was on his return because he missed the last game due to a back problem. But you had Desmond Bain scoring 20 points as well. Remember, their big man, Steven Adams, is battling with a knee injury, and his return date is unknown. So the Grizzlies have 31 wins and 17 losses into the season, and they'll be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves on Friday, while for the Golden State Warriors, it will be the Toronto Raptors that they will be facing next, also on Friday. Let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, of Nigerian origin but plays for Greece, is known as the Greek Freak. He led his franchise, talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, to a win over the short-handed Nuggets, and for the Bucks, it was quite an impressive one. 107 to 99 points that ended in favor of the Bucks over the Nuggets. Giannis Antetokounmpo scoring 33 points for the franchise, amassing 14 rebounds in there, and this win comes despite the fact that the Bucks had 22 turnovers, quite huge for a team like the Bucks. Jrue Holiday had 20 points. Pat Connaughton made a return to the side and scored 19 points and amassed 12 rebounds in there. Chris Middleton continued his comeback gradually, scoring 10 points in just 15 minutes of outing as the Bucks recorded their 31st win of the season, while they have 17 losses to their name as well this season. They'll be taking on the Indiana Pacers next, and that's on Friday. Meanwhile, for the Nuggets, as I said earlier, it was a short-handed team because they had several of their all-stars out, including reigning 2-time MVP of the league, talking about Nikola Jokic, who had to sit this one out in terms of resting his hamstring that had been strained, and so he missed a couple of games over the past 2 weeks. The Nuggets had Jamal Murray also out due to a left knee injury. Caldwell Pope also sat this one out with a sprained right wrist, not forgetting Michael Porter Jr., who missed his third successive game as a result of personal reasons. So the Nuggets are 34 wins and 15 losses into the season. Aaron Gordon top scored for them with 26 points, had 13 rebounds in there, not forgetting Bones Highland with 15 points. They will be taking on the Philadelphia 76ers next on Saturday, and that is a massive, massive, massive matchup, it must be said. Let's wrap up basketball discussions with the Blazers, and that's because one man known as Dame Time is actually calling time right now when it comes to the league. 60 points, massive 60 points, the second highest scoring start this season in the NBA behind Donovan Mitchell's 71-point train for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This time around, Damian Lillard, right there on your screen, poured in 60 points for the Portland Trail Blazers against the Utah Jazz, 134 to 124 points that ended in favor of the Blazers as they blazed through the defense of the Jazz. Sometimes the defense is good, but there's just a better offense, as it were, and that was the highlight of the matchup itself. You had Jeremy Grant scoring 19 points, and then for the Blazers, they lost Yusuf Nurkic to a left calf soreness in the middle of the game, and he had to quit by the third quarter. So The Blazers looking good. They are 23 wins and 25 losses into the season, still trying to battle for that play-in spot right there in a keenly contested Western Conference, where the likes of the Lakers, Golden State Warriors are also trying to make inroads in terms of getting playoff spots. Meanwhile, for the Utah Jazz, it was Larry Markkanen who top scored for them with 24 points. They are now 25 wins and 26 losses into the season. They'll be taking on the Dallas Mavericks next on Saturday. That's a matchup you should fancy. Someone like a Luka Doncic probably scoring 30-plus points once again. Meanwhile, for the Blazers, they'll be taking on the Toronto Raptors on Saturday. That's a matchup that Damian Lillard would also fancy his chances of increasing his scoring tally for, the Blazers franchise. Well, let's take a look now at Dame Time, how he called time on, the Utah Jazz team, talking about highlights of the match we saw just a few hours ago. We'll be right back.